Happy Thursday. We are live. Woo, woo, woo. All right. I am super excited. This has been such a great journey to get to this point where now we could bring the men and the women together. This is the War on Black Love. We have had so many great shows leading up to this point. We've had the men and the women working separately on their issues and their things and their accountability. And now we're ready to come together with solutions. Okay. We talked about the origin of the war. We talked about how it's showing up in the world today. And now we're ready to actually put some plans into action. So I'm super excited. I have an all-star cast here. I got some newbies, and yeah, we're just ready to really dive right in. So I'm going to go ahead and bring all the players to the stage. Let's go.
Okay,
Hey,
you will put me
Mark.
up here first. You will put
Right,
me up here first, huh?
just be ready.
Okay,
I
go ahead.
told you, stay ready, so you don't have to get ready.
Oh,
Okay,
okay, yeah.
so
Already.
everybody ready. There we go. Is that this is everybody? Hi, everyone.
What
Hey,
up?
Hey,
girl.
what's happening?
Thank you so much for everyone for participating. This is really exciting that we actually get to this point. We get to come together and have some real conversations that are needed that between the men and the women. And I know that you all have been really invested in this and diving into all of the topics thus far. So today is going to be super exciting. So everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay, so just a little icebreaker, just while we're waiting on people to join. I want each one of you, we're going to go around and, of course, talk about your platforms, give your some information on how people can find you. But I want to start by each person, as you give your introduction, I want you to give me one word that describes how you're showing up today. And I want you to give me on a scale of 1 to 10 how you're feeling, kind of a little mental health check. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start. All right. So my name is LaDonna. I'm the founder of Smart Love Inc. I am showing up here today feeling excited. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I'm about a 7. And I'm going to pass it over to Fatima.
Okay, so hi, my name is Fatima. Either is fine. Um, I am showing up feeling um super interested. Just interested. I'm just very interested. In the conversation that we're gonna have. I look forward to it. Um, on a scale from 1 to 10, I am feeling like probably a 10. Like I feel super chill, super calm. I'm in my zen today. Hence the hoodie and the hat. Like I'm just chilling and it feels good.
I love
I
that.
promise you I'm not on nothing. I didn't smoke nothing. I promise you. Just
Okay.
natural high.
I love it. I love it on 10. All right. Damon.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Damon Phillips, the Audacity Coach. My podcast is a Thing About Us podcast. We are rebranding, so you'll be seeing some new stuff coming out real soon. It's real talk, real people having real conversations about real relationships. I'm showing up today with gratitude. I'm gracious that, and I'm happy that we're here together, and hopefully we'll find some solutions. On a scale of 1 to 10, uh, my number is rising. My day started out probably around a 3, and so it's slowly rising as we go. So I'm probably about a cool 6 spot right now.
Okay. I'm glad it's rising. That's you gotta talk about that 3. You okay, brother?
Hey,
You
you know,
There you
it's
we
go.
gotta check
Hey,
on our
hey.
friends.
here we go. Here we go.
That's what the
No,
private chat. That's what the private chat is for.
Yeah, yeah.
No, we gotta check on the strong folks. That's the whole point of this. Okay. Thank you, Damon. Appreciate it. Thank you for showing up, and I'm glad everything is rising. All right, Nikita, welcome,
Hey
sis.
everybody, how y'all doing?
What
I'm
up,
Nikita
Nikki?
Nicole. My podcast is The Mental Health, The New Wealth. Um, I'm excited. I've been watching since the beginning of this series. And now I watch like an episode every day, just get a little in. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to be, on just the recap of solutions. Um, and how am I feeling? I'm showing up doing the work. I'm ready to put the work in. And I feel a 9. I'm feeling a 9, a smooth 9.
That's awesome. All right. Thank you. I'm so excited to have you here, Nikita. Yeah, my Bay Area friend. Like, oh, we got that connection. Oh, yes. Bay Area's in the house. Sorry, I digress. All right, Mark.
What's happening? So this Mark with date night online. I'm currently, you can find me on YouTube, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, date night online. Um, we're about 1 year in to this thing. Great things coming up. I'm feeling great, feeling good. How are you? Okay. I am currently a 8.5. How can I be a 9.5? Because I need to get me something to eat. So guess what I'm about to do real quick? I'm gonna put me on a quick pause. You get to him, and I'll be right back. Let me grab me something to eat.
You cannot leave in the middle of the
Yeah,
show.
he ain't dedicated like David. David wait to the end of the
Oh
that
yeah,
conversation is over.
David be having stuff on the
Before he
crock
get-
pot.
Right, right. I was gonna say that. He put his pot roast in a crock pot, and then he go to 2 hours, and then be like,
Hey man, I've been moving, man. I've been trying to get some good information out to people, man. This is a 24-hour day job. That's why look,
Man,
check this out. Anybody in that chat or anybody watching that, please do us a favor and like it, comment, share it, right?
man,
Sure.
Yeah.
get it out there.
Subscribe.
Do all that. But
Subscribe.
let's get folks in here.
yes,
All right.
let's go, let's go. No, no,
Oh my God, look at that banner. I'm just so amazed. I don't even know. Like, I'm so new to this. I'm like, what the hell?
don't play with me. Don't play with
That
me.
banner is crazy.
Hey, she said,
Oh my God.
I'll pull it
This
up.
is why I
I'll pull
don't
it out.
talk too much about technology. I already talked to you about this, LaDonna. I am so like out of touch. I didn't even know this is possible. That is so freaking cool.
Yes, yes. You gotta
what?
Yeah, I don't even like. I've probably been on StreamYard
I need to learn how to do that
like
part
2
too.
times. I've never
Yeah,
used. I don't use StreamYard. I don't use Facebook. I just got on TikTok. Like, so this
yeah,
is
we're
like
gonna
very
try.
new to me, but this is so cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
we got to get you together. I'm the tech. I'm the tech over here. Okay, so today we are going to discuss what it would take.
So
Wait,
you
who's
don't care.
Hold on, hold
nine?
on.
You
You're not
don't care
gonna ask
about how I'm
nine?
feeling.
You're
Wait
gonna
a
ask
minute.
nine?
Wait, I'm so sorry. We got distracted. Nine.
Ooh, that's booyah.
Hey, girl. Hi,
Yeah, this is Booyah.
hi, boo.
Say
Hi,
what up.
pretty girl.
Say
so cute.
Hi.
Hi. Aw, she's so cute.
hey. You can ask
Hi.
her anything. Hold on. What's the closest planet to the sun?
Mercury,
And what's the hottest planet?
Venus,
Ooh, I
And,
know that's right.
Whoa.
I know
Come with
that's
it.
right.
Okay,
that's
we're
right.
gonna need you to help us solve some of these problems, sister. So you stay close.
All right, problem solver. You done
We've
with your
been
TV time?
before. Okay, now we need your introduction and how you're feeling.
Okay, so you can find me. All right, baby, hold on. You can find me on the projects. On one part of the projects on all platforms. Follow me, subscribe. I am feeling elevated today. I'm feeling real optimistic about life right now. And on the scale of 1 to 10, I'm about an 8.4.
Okay,
Feeling pretty good, yeah.
that's great to hear. Awesome. Okay,
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to cut you off. I got distracted with my banner, and then yeah, I just thought we were ready to go.
Oh, you good. Be patient.
Okay.
I try to be patient.
All right. So today's topic, of course, is we're finishing up the war on Black love. We're building bridges, not walls. And we're trying to figure out how we can come together with solutions to help bring the Black family back together. Okay. Today, we're going to discuss what it's going to take to actually bridge that gap. We're going to discuss things that will help us to improve our relationships. Each one of us, the man and the woman, we need to come together to rebuild the Black family as a unit. So today we're going to focus on the solutions that will improve communication, education on the science of mating and dating, discuss what solutions around healing and uplifting each other and coming together to build that unity and get rid of the strife between us. So, everyone good with the goals and objectives of this conversation?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome.
I
Awesome.
love it.
Awesome. Okay, so I forgot to tell you all to bring a piece of paper and a pen. So just you can actually take a mental note of this question, or you could use your phone and add some notes in your phone. But I want you to jot down three problems and solutions to the war on Black love. And like, I mean, don't write a dissertation, just like, a couple notes for yourself so that you can actually articulate it when it's time to share. So go ahead and take a second and think about three problems that we've uncovered either within this series or that you just see in your everyday life or that you've experienced when it comes to um, the war on Black love, the separation between the man and the woman. And don't just think about the problem, but an alternative solution to that problem. Okay. I'm going to start while you all kind of think through that. And you, like I said, you can take a mental note, you can write it down. And actually, I want everyone in the chat to participate with us as well. So go ahead, and if you're in the chat, you can actually put yours in the chat. I mean, and my panel members, if you want to put yours in the chat as well, that's fine. But we're going to, of course, talk through them. Um, so yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to think about three problems that we've identified and solutions. So I'll start. One problem that I definitely see, just not even just based on like my own experiences, but like that I've actually learned through these conversations that we've had. Like I see that there's a lot of what word I want to use. There's a lot of pressure being put on both sides, right? But specifically for the men, I want to apologize to the men because I felt that maybe I was going so hard for the women that I didn't even think about that the men may be going through some of the same struggles that the women are, as far as like, the pressure that society is putting on us and just all the negative images. And so one problem that I see is um, that I feel like, Black men are not given the opportunity to actually show any type of like emotion when it comes to just the stress of life and the pressure and just all the negative things that come at you. Like we're, we we as in like when the women, society, everyone, just we look at you like as if you're just, unbreakable, and you better not cry and you better not, show any signs of weakness. And I feel like that's a problem. I feel like, that men don't have an opportunity to express emotions, to deal with, anything that's seen to be, emasculating, any signs of weakness. So I think that that is definitely a problem that we need a solution for. Um, a solution that I would propose is that we need to have more resources in place for mental health for men, specifically for men. Like we need to start focusing more on dealing with um, yeah, mental health issues that men might be facing that they're just uncomfortable talking about, uncomfortable talking to each other, uncomfortable talking to, professionals. Yeah, so that's one of the problems that I see. Any comments on that?
I just want to add on to that. Wait, was you finished? I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I wanted to add on to that, and I will also say that I too apologize, for you guys here on the behalf of women, because a lot of times we just dump on you guys and we don't really just sit back and be like, you know what, I was wrong. We might do other things, but never really actually apologize. So I apologize for the times that I have not been a soft landing place for my male counterparts, or I glaze over the things that you guys go through. I'm not going to talk about like so much of the issue, because we done talked about the issue, and I think that we give a lot of energy to the issue, right? I think millions and billions of dollars is being spent to expand the issue so that we can keep paying attention to the issue and not be so solutionary based. So I'm not going to, energetically put anything else on the issue, but I think the main solution for all of this is self mastery, knowledge of self. Who are you? What have you been? What are you now? I think that, just to be perfectly honest, we all want love. We all want um the same things. It's hard out here to do things by yourself, men and women. So why wouldn't you want a partner to do it with? But unfortunately, because of that, we started to kind of have a more transactional based relationship, versus this is my journey, that's your journey, and we're walking this journey together. Not being friends, not allowing each other to grow. The same person that you got with or that you're with today is not going to be the same person years from now, not even a week after from right now. So just, making sure that we tapping in with each other, and just making sure we're okay as individuals and doing our own work, give us more grace with each other. When you're doing your own work and you're really breaking down and just figuring out who you are, why you pick the people that you pick, what habits do you have, how did you develop those habits, are those habits in your family? Did you start to learn these habits along the way and really exercise these demons? You'll start to give people grace, because when you look at other people, you'll be like, oh, okay, I see that they're dealing with this, or I see that they're dealing with that. But if we're
Yeah.
using the word war as we have been, then there needs to be a victor. There needs to
Mm.
be an enemy. There needs to be an agenda, for why I need to win and why you need to lose. And so we're always going to have conflict. That's just going to be, what we're going to deal with on a regular basis. But just not looking at it as a war, and just really we working on this together,
Yeah.
and giving each other grace, tapping in with each other. Is this still what you want? You know what I'm saying? Is this making you happy? It's not our responsibility to make each other happy, and doing our own self work. We'll find those things out that make us happy. We are to add to each other's happiness, but just to tap in with each other and be like, I sense that you've been down, or I sense that there has been a shift or change, or just making sure that we tap in with each other and communicate, but developing relationships of friendships, genuine friendships first, before we jumping into these relationships. That way, when alterations, changes happen, we not like, what happened, or why we not doing this or going there, because we have developed a situational relationship.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna pause you right there because you just dropped so much. We gotta digest it. Okay.
Yeah, she took
So
half of mine. She took half of
uh,
I
mine. I'm
told
done.
you I was watching, I was
I'm
ready.
through. Done.
I guess you were. Yes, you were. So I heard self mastery. I heard
Mhm.
developing um, but friendships, like solid relationships. What other solutions did you all hear from Nikita, guys?
I'm sorry, maybe it was just too much, but just run.
But no, it wasn't. It wasn't too much. I think that it's so crazy. It's like you went in my brain, and you just start looking at information. It's like, oh, I want to just say all these things in my brain. I feel like it's really hard for me to follow that. Honestly, it was so thorough. You touched on a lot, but I think one of the main things that, or I think the number one on your list that is number one on my list, and it's ironic because Adana and I was talking about this. So many things you said last night, but number one on my list is self mastery. That's number one on my list because I believe that our relationship with self is directly going to impact any relationship which you have with any other human being, whether it be a platonic relationship, romantic, a work relationship. It doesn't matter, right? You can never escape you. And so I think that the relationships that we have are then in turn a reflection of who we are, a reflection of our thinking. And it's just, it's just a fact. But that's one of the things I would say for sure that's on my list. But I'll wait for my turn. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I think self mastery is great. I'll put that in the chat. Who wants to go next? Who's ready with the problem? Just you can just give me one that's on your list.
Okay, we're gonna sweeten this up. So here's the thing. I'll say this: one of the issues that I think that we as men have been dealing with, that we have to allow women to understand, not an excuse, but understand, is that we do lack certain type of leadership skills to make you guys feel confident in us, right? So I would probably say for me, um, I have identified that more than anything, because like I always say, women are definitely a reflection of what we bring. In a lot of cases, not in all, but a lot of cases, you guys are a reflection of us. So if you guys are feeling a certain kind of way, I have to take that into consideration and realize that that may be how you feeling is definitely justifiable. So I will definitely say the solution to that is for all men to lower your ego, understand where you may need to be as a man, and understand as to be a stabilized diffuser, as I call it, right? Being able to tackle the problem and understand that sometimes that women, a lot of women are frustrated, right? So we have to understand and come from a space of understanding so we can diagnose the problem so we can solve the problem.
Love that.
Wait, hallelujah. Mark, I swear to God, this is so weird. I'm not lying. My second,
Okay.
I don't know if y'all can see my phone. My second one says humility. That's
Right.
really scary. But yeah, there go one and two.
We
But yeah,
gonna, I promise, yeah.
that was on that was on point.
What do you want to add to that, Fatima? As far as
Well,
humility, well, he spoke from the male perspective. Maybe, is there anything as women that we
well,
need to do to show?
I don't really, honestly, for me, I really don't really focus on what women can do. I more so focus on me. You know what I
Okay,
mean? I track what I desire, so I hear things, but I don't pay attention to it. That's just me.
what what
okay.
what what does that mean?
What do you mean? I'm
Like,
sorry.
give me an example of what do you mean you don't focus
Well,
on.
I'm sorry. Say it again. I'm sorry.
No, I was asking to give an example of the statement you just made where you don't focus on what the woman
As
can
far
do.
as issues and problems and things that women are bringing to the table. I don't
Okay.
know. I can't. I mean, I can come up with something, but you know what I mean. But
Oh
I
no, I
choose not
wasn't
to.
asking you. I was asking Fatima if there was from the women's side. No, I see what you're saying. I wasn't asking you to give.
Yeah, that's why we were confused.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, you didn't say who, but okay, that's
Oh, I'm
fine. Go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I yes,
I was like, wait, what
I thought I was
happened?
still on the floor somewhat, but okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
no.
I'll go back. I go back to eat my coleslaw.
Yeah, no, no, Mark, you're great. No, no, we
Go
weren't. We
ahead.
weren't
That man
saying
said
you
he
needed
need
to
coleslaw.
identify the problem with the woman. I was asking Fatima, from the female perspective, is there
Gotcha.
something that the women need to do as far as humility? But thank you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
because I had the same, literally the same thought, Mark, or the same note, which was lack of humility. And I think ultimately, like, ego is one of the greatest adversities that we have to overcome. Like,
Mm,
even as a woman, as a man, like, ego is really huge, right? And ego a lot of times drives us to make irrational decisions that otherwise we wouldn't make if we didn't feel like our ego was threatened.
mm-hmm,
And men have ego, women have ego. I think sometimes we say pride and ego like they kind of go hand in hand, but pride really is an expression, or a product of ego. So I think that when someone feels like, their intellect is being attacked, their finances, their whatever they pride themselves in, whatever their ego is attached to, whatever fuels that ego, if they feel like the other person is threatening that in some way, whether by being more intellectual, more attention, more money, more status, then now you're kind of feeling like, oh wait, my position is threatened. So now it's all about attack, 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 kill the enemy by any means necessary. And a lot of times that includes um, lying. You'll sabotage your own character or everything you work for just to
Mm,
bring the other person down. It gets
mm-hmm,
really bad, right? It manifests itself in so many different ways. But the ultimate disease is envy, right? Because
mhm,
you start to really think that you delude yourself into thinking that you're more deserving, right, of what that person has than they are, right? So essentially, at the root of that is God made a mistake. You know what I mean? God made a mistake blessing this person. They don't deserve. They don't have the character like me. They ain't been through what I've been through. They're not qualified like I am, right? So I really think that is and it's along the same lines as what Nikita was saying with the self mastery. Like, we have to go within and kill ego. We have to be willing to approach these issues with the spirit of humility and to be willing to say, you know what, I possibly, miscommunicated. I possibly used the wrong tone. Maybe I do stand on this principle and what I believe, but maybe it wasn't at the right time, right? Because truth out of due season can do more harm than good. Maybe my expression, I didn't use the best language that I could have, right? So all these factors matter, and what I learned in my relationship with my husband that I've applied to my relationships in general was I could be speaking the truth, right? But is he in the mood to receive that truth, right? Is it after
mhm.
work and I'm talking about a bill, right? Is it, did I check on him first, right? Did I say, hey, how is everything? Did I do a spirit check? Or did I just kind of jump to what it is that I wanted to talk about? You know, and so a lot of times, ego makes us very dismissive of the other person's state of mind, state of
mm-hmm.
being, state of spirit. And
Yep.
so that's really kind of my perspective. And that's one aspect that I would say from a feminine aspect, how we could really think about that when it comes to approaching certain subjects at the proper time with our men, the proper tone, et cetera, the proper language.
Yep. Thank you. And Keisha says, so true. Timing with messaging is everything for it to be able to be heard clearly. And Go says, admitting you're wrong is okay, but hard for some people to do. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's that ego. Okay. Nye,
What up?
what's up? What problem you got for us?
Hey, I want to piggyback on what Sister Fatima was saying because my first one was communication. And like you said, a lot of us don't know how to talk to each other. We don't know each other's language. Like,
Mm,
and if you really love or care about that person, then you will learn to learn to um, oh my God, if you love that person, then you will learn their language, because sometimes, like you said, the timing is wrong. Certain words or tones can be triggers for past traumas. So just understanding and trying to learn to understand each other, especially with language, is a big thing. Like communication, because you don't know what somebody's been through or what they hiding. We got a lot of triggers and buffers that can be tore down with certain words. So communication is a big thing. So I appreciate that.
yeah. So Nye, do you feel like your personal upbringing, or even your cultural background has influenced the way you communicate with women?
Yes, certain people, they say that certain people who's was raised on survival don't mix with people who was raised on love. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it's certain tones and certain things they do differently. So yes, upbringing is very, very important. They say the first 7 years is you molding your whole entire personality. So that a lot of times that's where the traumas are when you go back. That's where they start from 1 to 7.
Mm, I agree. I agree. Damon, how you doing?
Um, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. One of my issues in the war on Black love are silent or unknown expectations that we
Mm-hmm.
walk in the door with, whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, a work relationship. I'm walking in with an expectation that you haven't shared with the person or with the people, and finding yourself frustrated or angry when you don't get what it is you expected. I think a lot of times we find ourselves having a conversation in our heads about what should have happened, what I should have gotten, what I should have. They should just know that what I want or what I need, because they know me, they're around me, and I shouldn't have to tell them
Mm-hmm.
what I want or need.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a silent and unknown expectation. And the solution to that for me is, I think two things should happen. One is that we should learn how to ask for what we want and need. Learn how to articulate clearly and honestly what you want and need from your relationships, no matter what they are: family, friends, romantic. Learning how to communicate clearly and honestly what you need. And a part of that is, as a task, we should become the best or the greatest communicator possible. Each one of us should work on being the best communicator possible. And then that way, it it helps the person on the other side not only hear what you're saying, but feel what you're saying too, because you've taken the time to really master the ability to share what it is that I want or I expect or that I need. And so I think these silent expectations have damaged a lot of relationships, because one person feels like you should know this stuff already because you've been with me for X amount of days, months, or years. The other person is like, I have no idea what you're talking about because you have not told me these things. And so now they're at war with each other, because it's like, well, you don't know me, and well, I do know you, but you didn't say this. And this is back and forth. When the truth is, if we could just master the ability to articulate honestly and clearly what I want and need, and
Yeah.
also what I don't want and what I don't need, then the person has a chance. They have a shot at actually meeting you where you are. Like, they have a shot of giving you what it is you desire, because they're clear on what that is. And so, under that mastery of your communication being, is also that self mastery that Nikita talked about before. Is just, how well do you know yourself? Like, how honest are you with yourself? Like, if you know that you have a temper and you pop off on at any little thing, communicate that clearly to a person so they understand who you are and
Let
what
me
and,
know
and
you're
what
crazy.
yeah, like let them know. Nye said a person who grew up under survival versus love. We learn how to talk, love, and communicate at home. We all learn it at the house. So when we get with somebody else and their house was different from our house, we both look at each other strange. Like, oh, in my house we all yell and cuss each other out, and you're like, well, in my house that's a fight. That's a problem, right? So it's really about, if you take the time to become the best communicator possible. And when I say
Mhm.
possible, that means that a lot of things are possible. So you need to be working on that communication always. And then, can you articulate clearly and honestly what you want and don't want, and what you need and don't need in your relationships? So that's my one thing.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question to that. So what are steps that we can take to enhance our communication to help, build those healthier interactions?
I
Are
mean,
you asking me or
well,
asking everybody?
yeah.
Well, you, but everybody. I was asking you specifically, but yeah, anyone could jump in.
Go ahead, Mark. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no. I just want to just kind of piggyback on and leading up to this question. One of the things you said that about expectations is almost similar to, just kind of make it even more clear, even to what you just said. It's almost similar to like you get frustrated with your kids because you think they have dirty dishes in the sink. They haven't had enough practice, right? And so we assume that they should know, right? And
Mhm.
not realizing that no, they haven't properly learned how to wash dishes at your expectation level. So why get upset about it? So I guess sometimes that goes back to the old saying: we have to teach people how we want to be taught,
Treated.
treated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
That one line says it all. You know what I mean? That sometimes we expect people to know what it is, but in actuality, everybody has a clean slate when you first meet them.
I
They
love
should.
that. I
They
love
should.
I love that example. I love that
Yeah.
example because I don't know how many of y'all have children, but I have a son, and um I talk to him all the time about, and this is going to sound crazy, but about, the answer to your question is people should read. Now, I know
Right.
that sounds weird, but people should read, not necessarily read for information's sake, but when you read, you learn how to use words, right? And
Hmm.
so it enhances your ability to communicate because you're now looking at words being used a certain way. And now you can say, you know what? That's how I feel. And this is now a way that I can communicate it. So read. So
Right.
I say that about my son because I always tell him, you should read, because not only are you gaining knowledge of whatever the topic is, but you're also learning how to use words in a way that can express things that maybe you don't have the words, you don't know how to express them. You don't know how to say I'm frustrated or I'm scared or I'm nervous or I'm, so maybe by reading you discover different ways to use language. So
Mm.
to answer your question, is that's one of the solutions, is just read. Just pick up a book. It could be about a topic that you're interested in. It could be about something that you're struggling with. But reading and gaining a use of those words will help arm you and help empower you to be able to express yourself a little better.
Right.
I love
And also remove the fear factor. I think a lot of times people are afraid to be real with people, right?
Mm.
And you can also use that as a measuring stick as far as where you are, because if you really come at someone at a nice tone, come from a good space, I think that you shouldn't fear being honest, right? I think fear a lot of times allow us not to even communicate properly, right? Because we're skating around the truth. We're skating around what it is, right? So I would probably say one of the other solutions is to understand that two things. You have to set the table to the person that I have good intentions, and the person that's receiving that also has to realize that this person has my good intentions. So the fear of either being heartbroken by that person or the fear of losing that person, that has to be removed in order to be
Hmm.
real.
That's gonna take work.
Can I
What's
add
that now?
one thing?
Go ahead.
Because y'all are like sparking thoughts like crazy. I couldn't have said some of the points that y'all made any better. So I just want to add to that. And I would say for myself, I don't think that, I think I'm growing to be a better communicator, but I think I used to be a shitty communicator in the beginning of my
Mm.
marriage. I had no idea, right? because I thought that it was all about me speaking up for myself, and I'm really good at that at this point, you know. Um, so when it came to my husband, it was just like I'm just saying whatever I think he needs to, hear at the time, and I'm saying however I need to say it. I'm speaking my truth. But as I've evolved in my growth and development, my character growth and development, I've learned that we have two ears and one mouth for a reason. And even like, you know, in this moment, right? I'm like so fired up. These topics is I'm like things are going off. But as I'm like learning to say, okay, well, let's see how this unfolds. I'm like, dang, Mark hit on something that was in my head. Damon hit on something that was in my head and explained it in such a beautiful way that it was like those things I don't need to say right now is moving me to another thought. And I think that's collaborative, right? That's the collaboration that I think we should be looking for in our communication, because what ends up happening is what I learned in my immaturity was my husband wasn't saying it the way I wanted him to say it. It's like that's not how I would word that. That's not, so again, ego is coming into play. So I learned, and this is a quote I want to read, and I'll be done with it. Or two quotes, but one, this is from a book I highly recommend, but it's called Becoming Behavior by Ruth Harvey. And the quote is, the real art of conversation is not only to say the right thing in the right place, but also to leave unsaid the wrong thing at the tempting moment.
That's
And
good.
the last quote I'm going to read, lamentably, nothing is easier than fault finding. No talent, no self denial, no brains, no character are required to set up in the grumbling business. So I try to live by those principles when it comes to communication. It's not all about me being heard. Sometimes I'll get relief. Sometimes I'll get satisfied, and I'm learning more and more just by being a more disciplined listener, a more active listener. And I find that to be more rewarding when it comes to trying to get through to my husband than me trying to interject, chime in, whatever. It's just sometimes people just want to be heard. And if you're humble and you work on that character building, then you have no problem doing that.
Yeah, you definitely have to judge intent, right? And judge intent. We should never get offended by someone tr- by trying to show areas of improvement, especially in dating and or relationships and in marriage, right? We have to judge intent. And if you don't trust that person, then that's a whole nother problem.
Right.
Just being honest.
And two, to piggyback and join what both of you guys said too, like with the ego and the articulation. Sometimes people don't have the skill, whether
Right.
they reading or not. They just don't have the skill. So no, I'm just saying. So just
Right.
to say, you know what? Give me a moment. You know what I mean? I'm processing what you said. Give me a moment, or I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I'm saying? Give me a second to think about that. And then also too, just having like a healthy level of detachment. Um, Sometimes we're so wrapped up in the relationship or the thing that we want that we are so like, you got to give me an answer now. You got to say something now. You got to
Mm-hmm.
like give it, you know what I'm saying? Let it breathe, like when you're on the beat, let it breathe a little bit, like give it some time so that the other person can really form their thoughts and not just blurt out or say something that really wasn't on their mind
Yes.
to say, or really
Mhm.
wasn't, but you needed an answer right now. Like if I ask you to give me some time, you won't even allow me to address it maybe the next day. You know what I mean? Just something that simple can mean so much in people, communicating, just having, a good level of detachment, but you're not going to have that level of detachment if you are communicating at a deficit, if you are in a relationship at a deficit. It's like you need the person to do a certain thing for you in order for you to be okay with said thing. So I think that if you're doing the work and you're making sure that you are coming to the stage whole, then when you having communications, and somebody is saying, I don't have the words for that now, or they weren't raised to articulate in that way. A lot of people have anger, almost like because you can't express a certain thing. It's like, I love you, girl. It's like, bro, like, everything is anger,
They were
because
roughing
that's
with
what
it.
you have seen, so just really just having a healthy level of detachment, not being nonchalant, but just kind of backing up away from the result of the thing, and then just too, like joining the humility or the ego with the articulation, and just saying, I don't have an answer for that right now. I don't know. I need some
Right,
space. Give me a moment.
I don't know.
right,
It's a really good
Yeah.
answer.
right. But you know
Yeah.
what though? I was thinking about like so some of these things that I think you said something in the beginning that kind of rung out to me. And none of these things, these are great points. These are great tips. These are great pathways to where we should get to in as far as communication. But one of the things that we have to definitely address, right, to address personal, this is a personal thing, is the self-reflection, right? We have to get to a point in our lives at this grown stage in our lives that if certain things aren't working, we definitely have to look and do a self-evaluation on ourselves first, right? Before we can even move to the communication aspect to any of that, right? I think that it's very important for everyone to look in the mirror and to reflect where they are in their own personal life, married life, dating life. And if you're not where you want to be, let's look at yourself first. Because none of this stuff is not going to work unless you have self accountability. None of it.
Absolutely. And I just want to say one thing, because I think we can move on to, because I think we kind of touched on it a little bit in the beginning, the self mastery. I think that goes back, to the self reflection. So I definitely want us to dive into that the same way we kind of did with the communication. I just wanted to add one point that something that I kind of learned in my corporate experience, like in leadership, it's very important to create an environment that feels safe, where everyone feels like they can communicate how they truly feel. So it's like creating that psychologically safe environment.
Hmm.
And that alone is not easy, especially if you've never actually felt safe, in an environment where you can just really speak openly, know that you're going to be heard, your words are not going to be used against you, um, that no one's going to judge you for what you're saying. And so that's something that we as individuals need to learn to how to actually create those environments for people that we're building relationships with, and vice versa. So I think that we had like maybe an 8 week training on psychological safety at one of my companies. So it's there's a lot to it, and I know that there's a lot of resources out there. I'll say read, but that, yeah, creating that psychologically safe environment is important for communication. So moving on to oh wait, hold on, Keisha said something. The key, I was in a relationship when I didn't feel safe, and I had such
Hmm.
anxiety having conversations that need to happen, and that wasn't healthy at all.
That's
Absolutely.
where intent comes from. That's
Never
why I say you're
again.
the judge in content, because even with the person that is receiving the information has to understand the intent of the person that's delivering it.
Right.
It goes back to that.
Right. But if you don't feel safe with your partner to
You have to judge their intent. It goes back to intent. If you don't, listen, here's the thing. I always say this: if you trust a man with, I'm about to say a cuss word. I'm sorry. If you trust a man was in between your legs, also do some type of assessment on if they're trying to assist you with some what's their intent. Are they there to bash you? Or you should know your partner by at this point, right? I would think,
We
right?
ignore the warning signs. That's the problem.
Right,
We ignore them early warning signs. Like
right. Just
this
intent.
motherfucker might be psycho.
Because sometimes what happened, the person that needs to hear a message, they may be in the space where they're not even, they may be dealing with something eternally, but we don't know what a person's dealing with eternally. So at some point, if you feel that someone is actually relaying a message to you and it doesn't feel safe at that point, again, in would work at that point, you have to go back and do and assess, where are we? Is this person has my better intentions, or this person is trying to hurt me? And
But
Well,
then open the door.
yes.
can we just address the issue of, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you don't feel safe communicating, I think the issue is much bigger than the conversation.
Yeah.
I think the issue is some other, there's some other problem
The
if you
issue
don't
is
feel
get
safe
out.
talking to this person. So if you're scared that if you say this person's going to do whatever, and then you feel unsafe, your issue is bigger than the communication. Your issue is somewhere else that you need to address. So Mark's right about, you should know the person you're with, but if you're in a relationship with someone and you don't feel safe talking to them, then your issues is bigger than than just talking. It's
Mhm.
bigger than that. So
The issue is
Okay.
you and your. Oh,
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. So when I say, like, let's be clear. Like when I say psychologically safe, I'm not talking about like physically. Like if I say something, something's going to happen to me, right? But like when you have a psychologically safe environment, you know the person that you're speaking to is like practicing active listening, um, that they don't have bias against whatever that whatever you're communicating, um, that there's some common ground, so things like that have to be established, like
Mhm.
oftentimes it's not just automatic just because you're in a
That's
relationship
what
with someone.
dating is for. That's what dating is for, though, right?
Okay.
So if someone you've been dating for and everything's been going well, right? And then all of a sudden you get into a space where that person may be challenging you or for something, then it's I don't see where, I mean,
It
you
has
know,
it doesn't have to be negative though. When you say challenge, we're talking about like just regular communication.
well,
So it doesn't
right.
have to
That's what
be like
intent.
a
That's what
combative.
intent. I know, but that's what intent comes in at. That's when you have to judge intent to check yourself. For anyone to revert to, oh, this person makes me feel uncomfortable by what they're saying, at that point, you have to check and see what's inside and do your checks and balances and see have that person ever showed that type of behavior before we go down the path of I'm not feeling a certain way. Because here's the thing, let's be honest, a lot of people don't really want anyone to tell them how they are. Like it's not hard, excuse me, it's not easy for someone to take, a lot of people can't take criticism. Let's start
Mhm,
there. At its simplest level, a lot of people do not like to be corrected, man or woman, right?
mhm,
So automatically you may have good intentions, but because we live in a society where everybody's doing well according to their own view, right?
Mm.
mhm.
See, like Damon said, it's deeper than that. It's a lot of layers, personal, outside of what someone is giving you. We have to know who we dating.
so
Let's be
so
honest.
so one, LaDonna. So my response is actually, because I'm looking in the chat, I'm looking at what people are typing in the chat. They're giving examples of their relationships that they were in when they didn't feel comfortable talking to someone, or they were upset of, they weren't comfortable. But
Mhm.
um I think another thing that I'm picking back off what Mark said is, I think that we have to adjust our filter. We have a filter in our eyes and our ears, where when someone says something to you, if your filter is turned to defense, right? So then everything they say, you feel like you have to defend yourself against, right?
Mhm.
Or if your filter is turned to anger, then it's like everything you say is making me mad. We need to figure out what is our filter on when this person is talking to me, when this person is saying something to me. Because a lot of times, to Mark's point, their intent could be perfectly good, but if your filter is turned to I'm in a bad mood, I ain't trying to hear that today, then you missed the thing they were trying to tell you. You missed the good intention. Like Fatima said that when she started her relationship, she wasn't a good communicator. She was just defending herself. She was just like, I'm this and you looking for me and this, that, right? And her filter was, I need to be heard. I need you to hear me. I need you to hear me. I need you to see me, right? And he's like, you standing right in front of me. I can see you. But he wasn't hearing what she was saying. And maybe, like to her own admittance, I wasn't good at communicating what I really wanted him to understand. I was just, hey, see me, hear me. So I think the filter that we have, we all listen and hear, especially when Marx talks about criticism, when somebody gives you some feedback, and if your filter is turned to the wrong thing, now you're like, oh, you tripping, you talking to me crazy, you don't like me, you don't. So we need to think about how we're receiving this information from folks, because sometimes we're taking it in, and that's not the intent at all. The intent is for your is to improve you, or to show you, hey, look, this is how you're showing up. So I think Mark said something earlier that about looking in the mirror. Do we show up? Do we show up the way we think we show up?
Hmm.
Like, do we really come across the way we think we come across?
Right.
Because some of us think that we're clear and we're honest and but the truth is, no, that's not what the person is receiving at all. Not at all. So are we really showing up the way we think we show up?
And I
And
think
you
like,
know what, Damon? I
oh,
think
go
you
ahead.
added. I'm sorry. Was you talking, Nikita?
No, go ahead, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna piggyback on what Mark was saying too. I'm glad he brought into the society, because society and social media and these things will have you believe that solitude and getting yourself together and waiting until you're ready to be in a relationship. You just want some company for real. You're not ready to be in a relationship. You
Yeah.
just want somebody to, go to the
Lonely.
movies with, go eat with, hang
Yeah.
out with. You want a companion for real, but you're not really ready for a relationship. And why I say that is because, like we were saying, do the work. Why are you so, like you said, defensive? You got to look at your core values for real, not the core values that they said you supposed to have. The real core values that you have for real, like earlier, Fatima, when you was talking about character. Oh, somebody lies or whatever. Really, what develops the thought in your head, right? So if you believe or you seen things in your life, as Nye was saying, you grow from 1 years old to 7 years old, and you saw liars, cheaters, people that yell, people that abuse people that do these things. In your head, you might be like, you know what, when a man is speaking to me, or when somebody says something to me, or a woman says something to me, their intent is not pure. Regardless of how long I've known this person, this is what I've learned. This is my subconscious core value. So no matter how you break it down, no matter how you explain it to me, because that is my innate core value, it's no way that you're going to be able to speak to me and I not take offense by it, because this is what I believe. You
Right.
know, men put things, on women, or they blame, or they talk to you because they want to control you, or da 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 da, and so you're not able to effectively hear or listen. So I think too, the bottom line of what we all are speaking about is, like you said, self mastery. What does that look like? You know what I'm saying? What's in your bloodline? Who
Right.
are you born by? Who are your parents? Who is your
Yeah.
uncles, your aunties, the people in your family? And then what characteristics have you been around? What part of those that you have that are within yourself? And what part of those that you developed along the way, people that you've been around? Because most times we are around the people that we energetically resonate with.
Right.
People's like, why I always meet these kind of people? Because that's you.
Your
You
vibration.
might not
Right.
be, that person exactly. You might not be a liar. You might not be a thief exactly, but it's something in your resonance that vibes with those type of people.
Mhm.
Like, it's
And
so
you need
funny.
to
Like,
learn
people
from.
wonder, like, why certain men or why certain women step to me? Why they had a confidence? Now, some people do have confidence. They don't care who they step to. They just gonna give it a shot, you know. But most times, people could look
Mass
at a
shooters.
person and know who they could say
Mhm.
something to, who I could
Yeah.
disrespect. You could be with somebody and you like, he ain't never put his hands on me because he knew he could not do that.
Mm-hmm.
But with
But
somebody
you
else,
got brothers.
whatever that is, you know, he
Right.
knew energetically like that's not happening. Or she didn't take advantage of me, but that's because she knew that she couldn't. So at the end of the day, it's like really looking deep into these things. How are you used to being communicated with? What are you
Yeah.
used to? And then after you discover that, okay, now that I know that this is my stock, this is what I come from, now discarding that, how do I want to represent myself from this point forward?
And you know
Mm.
what? And one of the things, psychological, when we say from a psychological safe, let's put it like this. So most psyops, right, which is psychological warfare, is a repetitive thing.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't just
Mm.
a one time thing.
Right.
Someone has shown they have psychologically put you in a space over a certain amount of time.
Paying that money.
First time, you may want to think about it. Second time, somebody keep psychologically like make you gaslighting or whatever they are, then you may be on to something. I can definitely say that.
Mhm. Yeah.
I want to add something real quick, and I think everybody's bringing up amazing point. I think what keeps coming to my mind is
What's on your
the
mind?
scripture that
She gonna
oh, that's a
tell
perfect cue. Oh my god.
He gonna tell you.
Right.
you.
The scripture keeps coming to my mind. You know a tree by the fruit it bears, and you know a
Mm.
man
Mm-hmm.
by his works. You know,
Right.
then the other scripture that comes to my mind is as a man thinketh, so is he. I think we're really, really phenomenal at um talking. You
Hmm.
know, it's a whole lot of talking, you know.
Mhm.
And I was sharing this with LaDonna in a private conversation. I said, you know, it's so interesting why you rarely see like married people giving dating advice publicly on podcasts or whatever.
Right.
You It's very far few in between. There are some,
There's a few
but
out there.
it's really kind of like I was telling her, and I'm being completely transparent.
Mhm.
Uh, it's kind of frustrating to hear the fighting. It's like, what? First of all, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you got your MBA, you did this, you did that, you had children, you done survived this, you done survived that, you done fought all your life. You know what I'm saying? For what you wanted to do, who you wanted to be, whatever of value that you saw in your mind. This is what I want to accomplish. This is what I want to have. Many of you, even now, you're making a sacrifice to be on this call. You have families. You had this dream to have this podcast, do this, do that. You fought and overcame trials and obstacles. Anything in your path, you overcame it to reach that goal. At a certain point, none of us, the Bible said we were born complete yet incomplete. What does that mean? The devil is in all of us. You get what I'm saying? None of us are void of a devil. Telling the truth is a natural, but telling the lie is natural. I swear to God, I didn't teach my son how to lie. But when he ate them cookies he wasn't supposed to eat, and I said, "Did you eat them cookies?"
He said nope.
That was the
No,
Who,
devil in him.
me?
That was the
never,
devil
Cookie.
in him.
never. But it's the devil. You know what I'm saying? The devil is
That
a
was
liar.
survival.
None of us on this call, none of us, period, have ever met anybody who ain't never told a lie in their life. And even to this day, we have lies and degrees. You know, you got little white lies and you got the little white lies is
Oh.
okay, but you don't lie about the big stuff. Guess
Mm.
what? A
Damn.
lie is a
And a lie
lie.
is a
You
lie. And the
tell
omission of information is
Damn.
a lie
omission.
too.
That's a
All these things we
lie.
do.
Damn,
Yes.
my mama
What
Or
we
lied to
do
me.
is
My mama lied to me.
we
I'm gonna
we
call her tomorrow.
justify, we deceive ourselves to justify our actions, but then hold whoever it is to the fucking fire. Excuse my language.
Santa
Like
Claus?
Mm-hmm.
literally, like put them,
Mm-hmm.
burn them alive and hang them. But
Stone.
then when it comes to us, that wasn't that big of a deal in comparison to what you did. A lie is a lie. Well, I didn't
it
cheat with a
sounds
married
familiar.
man, but you sleeping around, you don't know who married or not. You ain't asking. You get what I'm saying? So it's
Mm.
like at the end of the day, a sin is a sin, a demon is a demon. Your demon might not be my demon, but we have them. At the end of the day, we have to find somebody whose demon we can exorcise because God really has the power to cast out demons. And if we want to be his vessels, we have to be willing to do the Lord's work in our relationships.
Yeah.
All of us got demons. It's no escaping, it's no avoiding it. We think, have you ever seen anybody perform an exorcism on themselves? No. You need the help of a priest, the good Lord, some oil, water, straps, all kind of stuff.
No,
You
no.
know, you need assistance. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let's be honest. That's where that humility and that grace Nikita was talking about comes in. Let's be honest and let's approach relationships from the perspective that I have a demon. Whoever I'm gonna get with is gonna have a demon. But am I equipped? Am I skilled enough? And that's where that self-mastery, because you're studying yourself. So you know what you're capable of and you know what you're not. You know what
Mm.
demons you can deal with, some you can't. But when you don't study yourself, you don't know that information.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then these demons take you out, and that is something that I learned in my marriage. My husband and I got married, we both Muslim. First couple of weeks, he said, hell no. I thought I was marrying a Muslim. I said, hell no. I didn't know I married a nigga. Like,
Whoa.
literally, this was what was going on. Right?
A
I love
14
it.
demonic
years
Muslim.
later,
Uh,
14 years later, it's like I have
wow.
right hand of God, strike me down if I'm lying. I have watched my husband, like Nikita said, evolve and transform into this man of God that I respect, that I want to submit to, that I want to talk. It wasn't always like that, right? But
Hey,
it took a
Fatima, can you
lot
do
of
me a
me going
favor?
inside of self.
Fatima, can you do me a favor? Can you exercise the demon on your camera and turn it sideways for us?
How? Oh, I'm sorry.
You know
Hold
you
on.
got a pet peeve with
Did
that.
I do it? Okay. Is that?
Yeah, we
That's
want to see
Oh
perfect.
all
no,
of
am
it.
I not?
That's perfect.
Right. Because you
Uh-oh.
dropping some jewels,
Fix
but we
that
need to see
too.
that face.
Uh-oh, she turned to the side and the sound went crazy.
There you go.
That's
You
it.
look
It's
That's
not
perfect.
it.
working.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
you
It's
go.
yeah, yeah.
You
Now we're
perfect.
You
Okay.
perfect.
Sorry, y'all.
No, it's
Oh
all
yeah,
good.
you
Anyway,
good.
that was a sign from God.
move
Let me wrap
that.
it up. So I'm good. That's
Your
really my
hand.
point.
Move your hand.
I feel like we could talk. Can you hear me?
Your
Yeah,
Yes,
hand.
we
yes,
got
your
you.
hand.
Can you hear me?
Your hand is over
Your
the
Oh,
hand's
this
on
is
the
my
camera.
hand.
screen. The
Oh
other,
God. Okay, wait.
Somebody
Your
exercise the
hand is over
demon.
the
Oh,
camera.
can you? Oh,
not that hand, the other hand. That hand. There
Oh
you
my
go.
okay.
God.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Sorry.
Go
Exercise the
ahead.
hand
Sorry. I
demon. The hand
apologize.
demon. Let him go. Release
The
it.
hand demon. Look, I mean,
Mhm.
but yeah,
You
I
know.
that's really, I think that's really something that like kept coming up in my mind because I'm like,
Right.
it healing is a journey. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's never
Yeah.
ending. It's never gonna stop. You just gotta find that person that you want to take that journey with, and that's the
right.
bottom line.
I don't think we ever stop healing.
We
We never
don't,
stop
we
healing.
don't,
That's what
we don't,
that was another
we
question
don't.
I was gonna say. So when do you know that you're healed? When
That's
do
it.
you know?
When
Right,
you
because I just made a post about that today. Say, you want somebody to come to you fully healed. You got to make sure you are.
I
Correct.
guess I guess when all I'll say this, when all lines are not when all lines when you can start to receive things, right?
Yeah.
I think we're whenever you can receive it, of course, healing is a journey every day, and we need to heal for certain different things because the way society is,
Yes.
it can change our views, which change our actions, right? So I
Mhm.
would probably say it'll always be a journey, but I guess we are healed to a certain extent that we're able to bear great fruit in our lives. Because guess what? You'll see how much you've healed by the results that you get. How about that?
Hmm.
Hmm.
The fruit.
By the fruit.
Healing might come when you know how to fight against those triggers. So when
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
you get triggered, your response is not the same. It's
Exactly.
different than it used to be. That's how you're further along in the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because some things would trigger you and you would just, you go off or cry or whatever you have a response to. But when you're down that road, you're able to, that thing will trigger you and you'll go, you know what? This is
Mm-hmm.
something that I normally would do this with, but now I'm
Mhm.
going to do this with
You
it.
lucky I ain't the old me.
Right.
Like Nikita said, the ability to fully be detached. The more things you can be detached from, I think that's what the more things you can heal. That you're healed. It shows you're healed from. Because like Malcolm X said, he said you throw a rocket to a pack of dogs, and the one that hollers, the one that got hit.
Correct.
So people react off of things that triggered them. You know what I'm saying? You can't play a key on the piano that ain't there. So
Yes.
that's the same thing.
Okay, so so this is great. This brings us to our next solution that we need to kind of dive into. So like when we say that we need to focus on, self-reflection, self-mastery, let's give some examples of what that looks like. How do you who I'm gonna start with? Who I'm gonna start with you, Damon. How do you actually practice self-reflection to begin that healing process, to like identify what areas you need to work on in order to heal?
So I have been blessed with two or three really good friends, and my friends I have given them permission to hold me accountable. So
Mm,
I don't. So some people, you can kind of tell them something, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool." Well, I have people in my life who I have, and I'm using these words specifically on purpose. I have given them permission to hold me accountable, right? And so if I'm bullshitting, they're gonna say, "Nah, you bullshitting." Or if I say, "Man, you never believe what happened," first question out of their mouth is, "What did you do?" Right? So they're gonna make sure that I keep the standard that I'm saying I want to keep. I'm being the person that I say I want to be. That I'm showing up the way I think I'm showing up. They're making sure of that, because if you ask yourself, your answer is always going to be yes. If you ask somebody who you trust, to Mark's point, their intention, to make sure that their intentions are good, they have the right to tell me, "Hey, you're not doing the thing you said you're going to do, and so you need to straighten up. You need to get it together." Or they're going to say, "You're right. You are right in the way you responded to it. You are right about that situation, and it wasn't you. It was this." But I've been blessed to have people in my life to hold me accountable, and I mean like on any and everything, personal, professional, romantic. They hold me accountable. They say you want to show up like this, then you have to hold the line. And if you don't hold the line, we're gonna call you on it, and we're gonna tell you about yourself. Okay, so that's how I've been able to do it. Is because I was again blessed to have some close people in my life that they have the right, they have permission, they can cuss me out, they can they
Mm-hmm.
can do whatever they need to do to keep me straight. And so for me, that's what's helped me in that self mastery part, is just make sure that, hey brother, you said you was gonna do this. I don't see you doing that. What's up?
somebody's mic is, who is that? You nine?
Okay.
That ain't mine. I
Oh,
hope
okay.
not.
Okay. I don't hear it anymore.
No, I was
I'm
gonna
sorry.
answer that question.
Oh, maybe it was mine then.
He trying to hurry
Sorry.
up and get his out before
I
somebody
got
else
all
say
Yeah,
the
it.
text with my
Hey,
pen, my
not,
I've been
You're
chilling.
phone.
not,
you're
not trying to
behind the
hurry up and
back.
get his out for somebody else say it. He trying to
I'm
hurry up and
about
get
to
it out
go
for
to
somebody else
sleep.
say it. Go.
Go ahead, Nine.
I ain't think no. I don't know if nobody gonna say this one. I don't know. But what I do is I go back to childhood. Like I become the observer. Like I don't. I try not to act or react. Now this is me. This is practice. This is still in practice now. But I try to observe, and I ask myself many questions. Like, what's making me feel like? Why am I feeling like this? Like it's been times where I forgot what got me mad, but I'm still feeling the feeling. So whenever my vibration drops from anything, I try to observe, like, and like Mark said earlier, it's getting more and more to where it's not really affecting me that much. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So I just try to be, I become the observer more so I don't react. Like I was reading this post, it was like some girl said, if you saw your sister's husband in the restaurant with another woman sitting down eating food, what you gonna do? And I'm reading the comments, and they say I'm walking up, I'm sitting in the table, I'm eating some fries. I'm like, all this reacting. I put on the post. I was like, I'm gonna call my brother and ask some questions. Did you break up recently? Before I react and do something crazy. But most people are predisposed to reacting. So
Yeah.
I try to observe the situation before I act on it.
Now, you know what I'm observing?
What's up?
Your mic is really loud. Like,
It is.
yes. No, I mean it's very clear. I like. Well,
She
so
said it's
yeah,
very clear. Does that mean it's loud? All right. Is it lower now? Is that better?
that's
Is
good.
that
Thank.
better?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad you heard me.
They heard you. I heard. Thank you. Did anyone have a follow up to what I said or
What was
another?
it?
Um,
Can you repeat the question again?
the question was when it comes to self reflection, like what are practices that you use in your life to, focus on the things that you need to work on and things like that.
Okay. I'll just say this and make it plain and simple. I just really look at what I'm getting back. Period. Like that's first. If I do anything, right? The thing for me, the assessment of where I am in my life, right? And then after that, this I can definitely add on to what Damon and basically said as far as what my next step would be. So I really have to judge where I am in my own life. That's where I start.
Like it, like it.
I don't need. I mean, I
That's
talk
his
about.
thing. Accountability.
Well, I mean,
Accountability, Mark.
listen. If we're
Word of
trying,
the year.
if we're
The word
trying
of
to
the
be,
year.
if we're trying to be somewhere and we're not, or you're not feeling comfortable in where you are in relationships at this point, again, yes, going back. I don't want to use that word again, but if you ask me where to start, look at where you are.
Mm,
Is that if you're happy with it, continue to build on it, right? But if you're
mhm,
not happy where you are, then you may want to go through the proper steps that have been previously mentioned: seeking counsel, being around personal friends that are positive, right? That's showing positive fruits. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna say this, and this is kind of off the subject, but on the subject of because it's all about self improvement at the end of the day, right? I was actually got invited to, and I told the story. Well, I haven't told the story to you guys, but this is just an example. But okay, so I go to uh Macon, right? And I meet the owner of this Well, I meet some guys that I'm kind of working around with, or I'm working with or whatnot. First time, and so we all went out to lunch. It was about 15 to 20 of us. All right, so everybody else is sitting over here. Guess who I'm sitting with? I'm sitting with the owner, right? Sim, and that's just an example of transferring that into relationships or where we are personally. Get by the person who's doing better than you, right? Seek those type of people. Don't seek the person that's where you are and you guys are trauma bonding together, because you're gonna that energy is not gonna go anywhere. It's gonna be stagnant, right? You have to have someone that's gonna vibrate at a higher degree than you after you realize where you are in your life. I would definitely say that.
like that. Thank you, Mark. Nikita, what are your
Um,
self reflection and self
I can just
mastery?
say, like a lot of journaling, a lot of self reflecting. When you writing things down, and like Nye said, going back into things, writing things down, different patterns, like Mark said, because the fruit of your life will let you know what lessons you're not learning. A lot of things are patterns over and over, the same situations, same type of people, or opportunities for you to do things better. So I just journal a lot. And have a great spiritual connection, be tapped in with spirit, because when I fall out of alignment in that way, I get whooped the worst. Like I
Mm,
get drug. Like,
mm,
so just making sure that that connection is right, and then everything in my life is normally a reflection of, you know, what I'm getting better at or what I need to improve on. So that's pretty much all I could say about that. Is, you know, really just self-reflecting and journaling. And I do have and my mom and other people, like, good support system for people to talk to and hold me accountable also. But I just find, for me, my spiritual connection is the most important, because you can't hide from none of that, like, you know, your spiritual connection.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Fatima, did you want to add anything on self
Sorry, I gotta see
reflection?
my hand come down. But
Hey,
it looks so big on us anyway. But Nakia made a great point. I That was my first thought. Is prayer. My connection with God, period, is number one. It has to be prioritized, or otherwise I feel like the weight of what I really be doing, I can't bear. It's
mm,
like when I'm praying, it is a space for me, not and not in like a spooky way, like God is floating out in the sky, you know, capturing like, I don't think about it in a spooky way. I think about it in a real tangible way, that there is God inside of me, right? And so when I'm speaking my prayers, I'm not only tapping into the creator of the universe, but I'm also tapping into that part of him that's inside of me, right? And
mm,
bringing him out of me. And
Yeah.
my whole focus has been, I would say, like, really my belief system, in terms of even living a life, or striving to live the life of, you know, the way of God. It really didn't really start until I got married. I thought it started before, but it didn't, you know.
Mm,
And I started to challenge myself um, to bring the book to life. We quote
mm,
scripture, we say scripture, but we don't apply it. We don't even try to find where it needs. And I was realizing that I was doing that. So now my whole mission is to bring the book to life.
mm,
And my relationship uh, with my husband started to mirror, because he was my choice, right? Somebody in the comments was talking about be careful about somebody with demons, because you put them on each other, whatever. And that's true. You know, demons do circulate and whatnot. But I realized that he was my choice. He was a product of my thinking. So whatever it
mm,
was in him that I didn't like, um, or that was challenging me, apparently it was the answer to some prayer of mine, because as a result of me rising to the occasion, to eventually say, you know what, I'm going to accept the challenge. I'm not going to let this punk me. You know, I'm not going to let this circumstance punk me. I'm going to take my power back. And I'm not going to just say, oh, because that's traumatic, that's triggering. No, I'm taking my power back. If that word triggers me, I'm going to dig deep about that and take my power back, because it doesn't belong to
mhm.
anyone else. So my
right.
husband should not dictate my emotional state, my mental well-being. It's not his power. So if I give it to him and he misuses it or abuses it or whatever, then that's my fault. So I was on a mission to take my power back. And a lot of that really was inspired by me making God sufficient for me in every way possible. And, you know, really bringing the book to life, the principles that I was studying, that I was reading, looking for opportunities to implement, looking for the challenge, not running from it. Like, oh yeah, it's a challenge. Oh, okay, you talking stuff. This is the time for me to practice that I'm humble, I'm patient, I'm a great list. This is the time, you know, my time to
Mhm,
shine. You know, so we can say we're a lot of things, but until we're tried and tested or challenged in that way, and found true, then otherwise it means nothing. So that's what I started to look for in my relationship. I started looking for a challenge. Oh, you pissed off? Cool. I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna be what you want, babe? And he was like, what the hell? First he thought I was like possessed by, I was gonna actually poison him. But then when he realized
Oh
this
my
was
god.
a thought
the
pattern
intention, yeah,
and a
just the intention.
mentality
Where we going with this
that
conversation?
I adopted, he was like, dang, you know, and it started to be the culture in the home. Like, peace started to be the thing because I led by example, right? I didn't put
Mhm.
it on him. I put it on myself. I started with myself. I was the change that I wanted to see, so to speak. And I think that's really, really how my healing process began. And I think that is, it continues. But I'm committed to it.
I love that. I love that.
Can I say? I think Fatima said something that was important that just kind of want to add on.
She
I,
might
I,
be a
I
killer.
always, if you for whatever reason, some people believe certain things, some don't. So I'll just say this: understand that we are products of something higher than us. Whatever you want to call it, however you want to
Mhm.
practice, is what you do, right? But understand you have certain characteristics of that higher being, right? That means it's in you, similar to your mother. You have certain characteristics of your mother, even though you and your mother are totally different people. Certain things y'all can do the same. So I would say, like she said before, look within, pray, all those things, but also understand that whatever it is that you practice that's higher than you, it is already in you, right? So use that, tune into that, right? To correct the things you want, because you have characteristics as such. So I want to say that.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, so and I guess did you give yours? I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Yeah, he gave
Okay.
his.
Second.
Okay, so yeah,
Yep.
so for me, I definitely everything that you all mentioned, I tap into all that journaling, meditation. I've done some fasts, like just to cleanse and like clear my head and really tap into hearing and speaking to God and like building my a more solid relationship with Him so that I can see clearer because at times I don't trust my own judgment, and so it's like I got to go back to the source. So I think that's very important, and I think it's important to do everything that we just mentioned. Like when you're going through issues in your relationship, when you're going through a breakup, ending a relationship, like that is prime time to tap back into you. Because oftentimes when we are in relationships and we are really in, we're more tapped into that relationship and more times out of 10, that other person than we are into ourselves. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how we get lost. So making that a regular practice, even when you are in a relationship, even when you are married, always like going back to self is very important. And that's what, makes us healthy, happy, whole people in a relationship and not codependent on the other person.
You owe
Just
Damon a little bit more. You owe Damon.
who,
Ain't
oh,
that your?
Damon?
That's
Yeah,
Damon's slogan, man.
yeah, she taking it. She taking my stuff. You know how
What's
that
his,
goes.
what belongs to Damon?
You know how that goes, man. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
Happy,
Um,
happy hole.
so
uh,
I like what Fatima said, and I think it's good to hear a married person talk about how getting married was actually a test of your faith and how you activate and how you actually show your true faithfulness and your true belief as opposed to people who just say they believe. When you got married, you had to actually show
Dang,
and
for
live
better, for worse.
and
Practice it.
your real faith as opposed to saying yes I believe. It was like no, I have to actually show and do the things that example this belief. So I think it's good that people hear that just because you get married doesn't mean that everything becomes perfect or easy or all of a sudden you got a tag team partner here in
Exactly.
life and everything's
Exactly.
going to be great. It's not a magic wand that's going to happen when you say
Nope.
I do. but
Nope.
but to hear that you had to this was a test of your faith, and
Mm-hmm.
then it was you had the knowledge but now you have to apply it. And so that
Mm-hmm.
was the real test, is I have to apply
Yes.
all this stuff I know
Yep.
instead of just
Yep.
repeating it to other people.
Yep.
You had to really show that, hey, the book says this, or I read this, or whatever, wherever you get your information
Yes.
from. Now I have to apply it in real
Yes.
life, and
Yep.
I have to show that the faith I profess is the faith I
Yes.
also live. So I like the fact
Yes.
that you tell that from a marriage standpoint, because a lot of singles think that, oh, if I find my person, oh Lord, I'm gonna meet them and everything
I
is gonna be
know.
perfect. It's gonna be great. You
That
know,
expectation thing.
he's gonna finish my sentences and we're gonna
Oh
like the
my
same
God.
food and we're gonna like they have this
Yeah.
romanticized Disney version of what a relationship looks like.
He gonna finish my sentences.
And now, you know, it's good to hear that it's not as easy as you think. Actually, it's harder because guess what? Now you're dealing with a whole nother human. You're dealing with a
Yep.
whole other person and all their stuff that they're dealing with. So I
Just think
love the
about
fact.
roommate on steroids. Now,
Well,
it's a reason why none of us want to live with nobody. You know what I'm saying? It's literally that on steroids. But the
right,
reward is so much greater because I get to look in a mirror and like who I see, who I am.
right,
I sleep good 14 years later in a marriage. I got married at 21. My husband was 25. We grew
Mm,
up together. We spent all our 20s together.
right.
yeah,
And
wow,
now it's like literally almost the little things in the beginning that used to, annoy us about each other is like we don't even notice it. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like
right.
we don't even talk about it. It's just become such a beautiful reward. I couldn't imagine, being on the other side when I was going through, we were going through so much. I couldn't have, I didn't even, sometimes I didn't know I was going to make it. I thought we was just going to crash on shore, like, fuck it, we just
Mm.
crashing.
Right.
But God, he saw something better and he gave us a testimony. But the reward, though, is so great because guess what? It's lasting, it's solid, it's permanent, it's done. You don't work through it. You got a foundation that's solid, and
Mm-hmm.
that is worth more than like a lot. I mean, money, gold, all it is so invaluable. And to finally have that kind of foundation in our relationship, um, it adds value. It adds to my happiness, but it's definitely not the source. But it definitely adds value to that. So yeah, absolutely, I do. I definitely want to highlight. I know I highlighted, the realness of it, but I definitely want to highlight the reward is so much greater actually than the pain involved and the challenge. It is so much greater and so much more rewarding. And
Love,
it definitely gets easier for sure.
love it.
So
Thank you for
Yeah.
that positive
so
outlook.
basically the
Yeah.
self work, the
Yes.
working on the self, making yourself better, making yourself greater. The benefit is your husband gets a better version of you. So for people
Yep.
looking for relationships, the self work that you do, your person it gets a better version of you. They
Yes.
get the new improved version of you. So
Yep.
you know it's a good to know that really the real work is not about someone out there. It's really you and the stuff you need to work on.
Correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
Okay.
what I say about
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
people
Nine.
who say they're looking for Mr. or Mrs. Right. I can't wait till I get my Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. I'm like, bro, he can't see you. You gotta raise your vibration. You gotta become Mrs. Right for Mr. Right to see you. So yeah.
So
Hmm.
let me just see. So we touched on fixing, issues with communication. We touched on self-reflection, self-mastery. What are some other problem solutions that you all had on your list that we have not touched on? Does anyone have something that we have not discussed?
I think I was gonna say too, like what Nye just said also, like you have to be the person that you want to be with. Like not
Mm,
exactly that person, but you can't expect the person to come to the table with something that you don't have. Or at least working towards, becoming that person. And not just, the material aspects, but really just being that person. If you want a communicator, if you want a loving, kind, generous person, whatever the things are on your list, are you a match for that?
mm,
Or at least energetically a
Mm.
match for that. Because if you're not going to be on the same wavelength. And it's more about not just getting the person, is keeping the person.
mm,
That commitment to growing together. Like a lot of people don't want to grow together. You already want to be ready made. And that's not, that's not realistic, or like Damon said, that's romanticized. And then one more other thing that I wanted to touch on, um and I didn't even think to say that, but when you start talking about the fasting thing, a lot of us are walking around with the baggage of past relationships,
Mm.
whether it is, especially if these relationships have been sexual relationships. You walking around with thought processes of this
Right.
person. You're walking around with their past demons, your demons. Look, we back on demons again. But it's really, no, it's really important because
We in church.
I'm not, it's not even church. It's just real talk. Like, it not even come with a faith or anything. Demons are faithless. Like, they got
Mm.
different personalities, that they got different attributes that come with them. You get with somebody and you wonder why you can't keep no money in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they got the demon of poverty on them. Just certain little things. I'm just saying, just
I
certain
love it.
things
I
that
love
you
it.
collect along the
Demon of
way.
poverty.
Yes.
When have you
Soul
ever,
ties.
like, just really
Cleanse that.
spiritually got that
When
off to
have
you?
you got a clean
When
slate?
have you pulled back and abstained from sex, or abstained from certain things, and really cleaned yourself to where you have a fresh, clean slate?
Mhm.
A lot of times people do not do that, or even just going into relationships and expecting certain people to be like past relationships, subconsciously, not even knowing that that's what you're doing. But you never really gave yourself a real reset. So yeah, just
Mhm.
really.
Yes.
Right. So I need everybody out there that's listening. I need y'all to run some hot water, put some oil in, and everybody jump in the water tonight. We're gonna do some cleansing tonight. All right.
Uh-huh.
But put
Get
some
Hey,
them,
hot
everyone
water
get
in
them,
the
get them bodies up off
water.
you. Get all them
Look,
bodies up
so
off
look. You know what?
So
and
I want
Funny,
to
abstain
not
for
funny though.
right,
Real
right. But
talk.
so check this out. So check
you.
this
I
out. I
did
want to say
mine.
something. I want to say something real quick. I'm gonna say this, and I know we circling it back around. I know I feel that we may want to move on, but I want to say this. One of the things that I know that people have to start, because I've ran into this several times. I'll just say from my side of the fence, right? As far as what I hear, the statement that I despise is when I talk to women, because I don't talk to men, right? I talk to women and they say, it's going to take a special man to deal with my blank, 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 right?
Mm.
So, whatever that is, why are you saying it's going to take somebody else to deal with you? Why not do it before they get to you?
mm,
Right.
Right.
see.
That statement alone already lets me know that you know there's a problem with yourself, right? So why are you gonna try to throw it on somebody else to get you out of that space? That's what that translates to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to remove that from our verbiage, y'all, because life and death is where we all know that whatever you speak, we know that, right? So check it. Let's remove that statement. If you hear a friend that say it's gonna take a special man for me to get with me, and so a special woman to deal with my, guess what? Simply ask them. Then you may need to start moving that away, because that's in the way of you receiving what you're supposed to have.
Mhm.
I want to throw that out. I'm sorry.
so Mark, I love it. Brother, I appreciate you throwing the basketball off the backboard for me, because I'm about to catch it and dunk
Come
it.
on, dunk that.
Dunk that ball.
Dunk
So
that.
so you know that we're starting a smart love vocabulary word that we put out for the year. The first word that we put out, of course, is accountability, right? So the next
Mhm,
word we're going to put in our vocabulary is called acceptance, right? Because a
mhm.
lot of people want to be accepted for the way they are, but they want
Right.
everybody else to be different. They want everybody else to
Mm.
change. So they want you to accept them in the way they are. Now we all know that we come, we're frail, we have issues, we got drama, trauma, yo mama, we got everything, right?
Drama,
But
trauma, your mama.
but people want to be accepted just the way they are. Like, I don't want to change. I don't want to get better. I don't. So that's why they're saying it takes a special person to deal with my whatever, is because they're saying, hey, I want you to accept me just the way I am. Even if I know I'm not good in this area, even if I know I need to work on this thing, they're saying I want to be accepted. I want acceptance. And the problem is that you don't accept it. That's why you're putting it out there to give to somebody else.
Mhm, mhm.
You don't accept
Mm.
it. because you want to give it to some. It's going to take a special person to deal with this thing that I don't want to deal with. So the word is people are struggling out here with. They want people to accept them the way they come, just as raggedy and ratchet as they are. They're like, I want you to accept my raggedness and my ratchetness, and I want you to love me and treat me like I'm not those things. So I
So I
want to
can
be,
get out of it. So I
yeah,
can get out of
I don't
it.
want to be responsible for it. I just want you to ignore it. So accept me the way I am. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to get better. I'm not going to do the work, but I want you to love me and treat me like none of this stuff exists. And so,
Right.
so our war on black love, one of the things we got to work on is, are we accepting of those things? Because most of the time we're not. That's why we're telling our friends, well, girl, or hey, bruh, she gonna have to deal with this, and this, because I ain't about to change. This is who I am. Y'all, this how I am. This is how I am, right?
Right.
We got to let that go, because how you are could be what's in the way of you getting what you
Mm-hmm.
want.
Exactly.
So I want to piggyback off of what Nikita said. So we've been talking about, we talk a lot about the knowledge of it, but we're not talking about the application of all this information. So I'm going to roll out a new product called a relationship resume. Do you have a resume of all the relationships you've been in? So, like, do you write down the person's name and write down how long you were with them and write down what you learned on that relationship, what maybe you picked up and maybe you put down that relationship? Because I'm pretty sure if you looked at your resume of all your relationships, you could see some of the issues and some of the problems and some of the areas you need to work on. Just like you do a resume for a job, do a relationship resume. Write down. Okay, Jill, I dated her for 6 months. This is what I learned from her. This is what I shouldn't have learned from her. This is the good stuff I picked up and the bad stuff I picked up. Okay, great. Now I'm dating Joni. Write down her name, write down how long you dated her, and write down the same stuff you learned or didn't learn. And I bet you if you look at that resume over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you're probably gonna see some patterns. You're probably gonna see some things that, wow, why does this keep happening with every person that I date, every person I'm with? So look at that resume. It's like you're applying for a job. You're looking for a job. You want to put on that resume the things you can do. Look at your relationship resume and say, okay, maybe there's some things I need to change, some things I need to adjust because I'm not getting the job that I'm looking for. So
Friends
that's
included. Friends
my
included.
yeah, my application is a relationship resume. Like really look at the relationships that you've been in, and that could be friends and family. Hey,
Right.
this relationship I've had has not been healthy for me. These are the things I picked up. These are things I need to put down, things I need to change, and then look at it. And then also pay attention to the time. How long have you been in this relationship? Because sometimes we accept stuff that is not good for us for way too long and we normalize dysfunction. We're normalizing this behavior. We're saying that it's okay because, oh, it's okay because that's my fill in the blank. My cousin, my mama, my auntie, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, she fine, he tall, he whatever the reasons we give it. But we've been in that for so long that we're normalized. We're probably becoming numb to some of this stuff that's happening to us. And so that's why it keeps showing up under each one of the entries under your resume. So just relationship resume, folks. Just try it. You'll be amazed what you might find out.
I love it. I love it. All right. Anyone else have any other solutions like the relationship resume? I like that.
Listen, sip.
I do have one last thing.
Shit.
I do have one last thing I wanted to say because I feel like, Mark and I are really seeing eye to eye, and Damon. But I think when it comes to, I'm seeing eye to eye with everybody, but I mean, they said some things that really spark a thought. Accountability is so freaking huge, like for me, period. Like, I rarely ever talk about what somebody did to get me here. Like, that person is so far behind me. It just, you know, instead, I have a mother-in-law. She's extremely, I don't think she's watching. I love you, Mama Ro, but she has challenged me equally, like my husband. You know, I chose though to, like I said, investigate what it is about this personality type that challenges me, right? So that I can be a master of this circumstance. So I really look at it like that, and I learned that mental illness is between the gap between who you think you are and who you really are. The illness
Mm-hmm.
and the sickness is there. It's in
Mm-hmm.
that gap. So we
You
have
show
to
up.
close it. It's not, you have 10 car accidents in your life, different makes and models, maybe twice the same vehicle. At what point are you going to investigate the driver? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, we could sit here and talk about with this person, yeah, like, but you picked them. You picked the car, you picked the man, you chose them. And what I've learned from experience over and over again, whatever it is that I was choosing was a direct reflection of something that I was either suppressing subconsciously, not conscious, subconsciously, because we do like to do this blind game. Well, all niggas ain't shit, all niggas and all men is, and we like to do that to make our, to soothe ourselves, make ourselves feel better, or vice versa. Women nowadays they don't want to cook and clean for a nigga. They don't want to help us out. They just want to be independent. So we say these things
There's
and
a
we
lot of
speak in
niggas over there.
generalities. But one of the things I've learned,
There's a lot of niggas around you. You got to slow that down.
listen. One of the things I learned, no, seriously, because
Right,
Satan
facts.
makes niggas, God makes men. So we got to know
Absolutely.
who we dealing with. And so I'm saying that in the literal sense of when we are absent of who we are, that's who we act like, right? But for me, I learned that a suppressive personality, someone who brings your vibration down, is a person that speaks in generalities. They speak in general. They don't
Mm-hmm.
they don't speak on topic. They're not specific. They speak in general. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Everybody,
everybody is like,
all
I mean,
people.
who does? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And you start to realize that that type of person, when you think about it and you hear them talking like that, and sorry, that's my dog. You investigate what they're saying, you realize, damn, my vibration went down a little bit. I was up here, now I'm here. That's a suppressive personality. And so the only way to confront those kind of people that we come in contact with is with the truth. Literally, like, you start speaking the truth, be specific. They're like, you know what, forget it. And they will flee from you. And that's literally how it is. Like, I'm not fleeing from nobody. You gonna get uncomfortable with me. You gonna get this truth. And if you don't like it, you gonna move around. I'm not moving around nobody. You know what I mean? Like, this is my atmosphere. I'm not excommunicating you. When I get done, you gonna want to excommunicate yourself. You know what I mean? And I think for me, that has given me, that's my biggest thing, is the solution for all of this is to take your power back. You have the power, all of it. Like, if you're unhappy, you got the power. If you broke, you got the power. The power is ours. It doesn't belong to anyone else. And that's just something
And
that I really think if we own up to, we can solve a lot.
yeah, and don't be afraid to let people go. Just
Man,
because you've
woo,
been around somebody for
Facts.
20 years, it's
let them go.
called growth, right? It's
Let
called
them
growth,
go.
right? So when you're growing, the environment is going to change. And some people, everybody can't go. They always said it. And you know how sometimes we've often heard when people reach certain success levels, and it's always somebody in the background like, well, they're acting different, so and so and so. No, everybody can't go, right? And you have to keep that mentality: is that if you're trying to go somewhere and they're not going with you, you got to let them go because everybody can't go.
You can't match that
And it doesn't
vibration.
have to be negative. You can let them
Right,
go in peace, and it's
and
good.
With
peace,
Yeah,
love.
it's good.
right, with love, right,
You wish them the best.
right.
Love
And
it.
stop
Love
feeding.
it.
It's another solution. Stop feeding them. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm sorry. I got to say this. I apologize, but I got to say this. Stop feeding into. Look, the only reason why a lot of this stuff is actually, and I said this before, the only reason why all this stuff is actually happening is because we're feeding into the negativity, right? The
That's
timeline would not reflect it unless you look at it. All right. So if you're
Mhm.
seeing a lot of it, that means you're probably looking at a lot of it. Right? So remove
Right.
yourself from certain type of think tanks or wherever they are, whatever pills, Viagra pills, blue pills, red pills, whatever pills are being thrown at you. just realize that you can't feed into it, because what you're receiving is possibly what, again, going back to you, um you're probably feeding into what's going on. So keep that stuff off your timeline. Put stuff out here like this. It saddens me that people will come to look for solutions, but to be honest with you, unless there's some type of drama, most platforms such as this is not going to get that much traction. Let's be honest,
Right.
Mhm.
right? So if you really care about yourself and you care about your friends, your environment, where you want to be, let's start by sharing great information. Let's start there. That's another solution. Share certain things that can be a positivity and not, oh, girl, did you see this? Did you hear what he said? Who gives a damn about what they said, right? Find someone who's going to say something that's going to help you grow. That's it.
Yep, I love that.
That was one of my other problems, actually. Um, Having auto despise for the opposite sex. I mean, just jumping on these auto despise for the opposite sex, like automatically you're gonna jump on the women's side no matter what's happening. I
Mm.
see that a lot online. You automatically, just because they can kind of relate, but it ain't the same exact situation. They do that a lot with the R word. I ain't gonna go too deep into that, but certain people it's really happening too, and certain other people are trying to set folks up. So they'll make posts and other people will agree with it, and it's just the auto despise for the opposite sex. My solution is, man, figure out the source.
And a lot
Find
of
the
that stuff
source.
is situational, right? So
Yeah.
somebody put out a post about getting cheated on, right? And it'll be, as Fatima would say, it'll be generic. It'll be very general, right? It won't be
Mm-hmm.
specific. He won't say all the details of what all happened and what he did, and it'll just be generic. All women do da da da. And so other guys will be like, "Yeah, I got cheated on too, and I felt like that too." To your point, and so now we're all like, "Oh man, women are
Right.
doing this, that, and the other." When the
Yup,
truth
that's all they do.
when the
Everybody
truth
come to
is the
agreement.
truth is we all know, as men, we all know there's a portion of the population that operates this way, and a portion of the population that operates this way, and a portion of the population that operates this way. So there's no way that a intelligent person can say all women do this, because you never dated all women, right?
That's that's
Like
exact.
you can say some women, or if you were like Fatima said, if you tell the truth, say the women that I have chose to try to get in a relationship with have done these things.
The ones around me.
Yeah, the
This
ones
is
That
I
makes you look at
choose,
yourself.
the
That
ones
makes
I
you look
pick.
at yourself.
Yeah, the ones I choose, the ones I like, the ones I'm attracted to, they're the ones that treat me this way. That way, you're pinpointing the issue
You holding
versus
the mirror
saying
to them, man.
all women do this and all women do that. Instead of saying that, say the truth, which is I only date light skinned girls with long hair and green eyes, and for some reason that's not working for me. Well, brother, maybe you should switch it up. Maybe your
Mm-hmm.
criteria shouldn't be based on what she looks like. Maybe her character should be a part of it. So I'm just saying we got to be a little more. We got to filter a little better. That's all I'm saying. Filter a little better.
You know what, Damon? I'm so glad that this is coming from you, and I feel like
Oh my
Oh,
God.
actually
Hold on.
you've
help me,
actually
Mark.
learned something
Help
in
me,
Hey
this
Mark.
process
man. See,
because
see.
Here we go.
excuse me, I'm speaking, gentlemen. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
I'm sorry. No, but I feel that there has been times that statements have been made on this platform um, about women do this, black women do this, black women are like this, and when I say like, wow, like I don't understand that, I don't have that experience. That's not me, and that's not my friends. And I hear, oh well, you're the exception. That's the rule. So I'm glad to hear coming from you. It sounds like you've come full circle on this topic.
Nah,
So
not at all.
love it.
Not at all. Not at all.
Hey,
Okay, so right
Damien,
about excuse me.
Damien, silence is golden on this one, brother.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah,
Not
leave
Hey,
it
at
can
all.
I
alone.
can I
She
address?
digging. She digging.
Okay, so we actually
Yeah.
need to wrap up. This has
Wait a
been
minute.
great.
Can I just want to address Stephanie. She said I can't stand that. Why figure
Yeah.
out the source? It has nothing to do with me. But that's exactly what I'm talking about, Stephanie. You are the source. Find out why you have the auto despise for the opposite sex. Find out why that's for you. Why the source in you. So 1 to 7 years old, go back there. That's what I'm talking about. All right.
Okay,
Just
thank
want to
you.
get that clear.
Thanks. Okay. And yeah, so we're just going to wrap up. So one thing that I wanted to, I'm sorry, got so many things going on. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So one thing that I think would be a great solution, and we touched on this in one of our previous discussions. I know I've been talking to probably all of you, maybe some of you, about actually like putting together some type of like dating, courting, relationship manuals. But what I think what would be great is like if we actually had like a smart love academy, right? Where one for men, one for women, and the things that we need to focus on, especially a lot that we've identified here as solutions, we can actually provide resources, experts in those areas to help solve some of these problems. Because really, just like giving these solutions and then expecting people to go out on their own and actually do the work and figure it out, sometimes we'll be right back where we are. So
Oh, then they
that's
don't want
just,
it.
huh?
They don't want it then. It
They
can't
don't want
nobody. I don't care who, how many degrees somebody got. They can't do the work for the people. They got
No,
to
no
do it
one's
for
trying to
themselves.
do the work for them like guides.
Yeah, I
So
got what you're saying, but they
yeah,
still got. They still got to guide them to do the work for
Hey, I
themselves.
have the
That's
per-
all I'm saying.
I have
They
one of the
gonna have.
yeah.
perfect
So
guides and
like so
manuals
like guides
already.
on communication, guides
Yeah,
on
Mhm.
healing, practices for healing, self-reflection, things like that. Sometimes people do need a guide.
yeah,
That's
a
all.
guy. Yeah,
Mark's top 10. Put it up on YouTube. Mark's top 10. They net online. That's what the top tens are for. Those are guides. Those are things to understand how to heal. Those are things to understand what women desire. Is there to Damien's point is out there. But but excuse me, to Nas point, it's
yeah.
out there. We just
Y'all
gotta
been
stop
giving
being
good
lazy.
guidance. Y'all been
Right.
giving good guidance all night.
Say that one
That's
more
where the
time.
line
It's called
stops.
Mark's Top 10. What you
I
said?
have I have
Oh
I
yeah,
have several on my timeline right now. I have my top tens are tailored toward certain things. One is on trauma, right? One is on trauma. 10 ways to heal from trauma. 10 ways, it's on my timeline or date night online YouTube. Like those things out. Smart love is one. I'm sure I've actually seen where Damon's some of his previous things are out there that are very informational. So the guides are there,
Yeah.
right?
So I
It's
think that
it says
oh,
we have to get off our ass.
yeah. And so one of the
Being
things,
honest.
so one of the things that I was actually having a conversation with Fatima's husband last night, Brother Jamal, and he said, like, he just really opened my eyes to some things that even made me think about this academy. But he said that um, in his eyes, the solution is to uplift, heal, and educate the Black man. Like that's where it needs to start, right?
How?
And there's not a lot of platforms like this, or even you know relationship coaches, or all that. There's not a lot that's like focusing on the man. So I know that at times we feel like, okay, well, the men are just not coming, that whatever. But I think I feel like that is a great solution. And I feel like that is something that we should try to figure out how to do. We won't solve that in the next 5 minutes that we have here, but I thought that was profound to hear that from
hmm
I
uh, you know,
agree. I
brother.
agree
man.
with
You
him.
see
I
that
agree with
wedding?
him.
That wedding, you got to stand there 10 hours before the bride comes. I'm sorry.
What do you
That's all her show.
Okay,
I'm just
so we're
talking
gonna
crazy.
we're gonna close. So in closing, if everyone on this platform can just everyone on the panel, I'm sorry, just give where people can find you, and just maybe name one thing that you are personally going to do to help with some of the solutions we've talked about. So I'm gonna start with you, Mark, since you're right here.
Okay, when you say I'm personally going to do with me, like what do you mean? I'm
Yeah,
sorry, clarification.
you personally, your platform, what all the solutions that we talked about, how to counterattack the war on Black love. What are you going to do?
I mean, the work is already there. I'm going to continue to give more information. I want to continue to have people to, again, right? I'm just going to be like I said before. I'm just going to continue to do the work. Facebook, Mark Weaver is there. Date YouTube Date Night Online is there. I have over 300 videos with another 400 to put out. Right, it's there. The work is there.
That boy be working.
Um,
Boy. I like it.
I've been working.
I
I'm
love it,
streaming
brother.
3 times a week.
I love it,
Right,
brother.
so
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I mean. I don't think I can do now is what email everything I got. Well, I don't know, but I just say this.
Re-email.
I need for everybody. I need for everybody that's listening to actually just share these things. Share anything that you find interesting for either one of these platforms. Just to be honest, the work and guess what? I think people need to also think of it as this. We're not asking. I'm just being honest, right? We're not asking anyone to donate any type of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're just asking everybody to use the currency of time and consideration so they can share these things for yourself and to others who you feel, which we all, that is on the road and is ready to receive and ready to listen. Just share the information. That's all I ask. On all platforms, because I truly believe application leads to manifestation.
Thank you. All
So
right, Nye. Thank you, Mark.
Um, the projects on all platforms at the projects. Y'all see it, the 44. I got. I think I'm gonna come out with it. I got a new show coming this week. I think I'm gonna do it this week. It's gonna be like Ripley's Believe It or Not, but it's gonna be called Judge for Yourself.
keep your
So
clothes on,
I'm gonna
man.
look out for that. Hi, what'd you say?
I said, keep your clothes on, man. Go ahead.
Okay, and how are you helping?
Judge for yourself. I'm just
And how does that
no.
help on Black love? I'm sorry.
You said what?
I said, and how are you going to help the war on Black love?
Oh, I'm gonna keep exposing truth. I'm gonna just keep on exposing the psyop. Keep on, alerting people on exactly what the setup is. I'm a natural solutionist, so I try to go straight to the solution. Hey, this is where it started, y'all. And help. Hopefully they can guide. They can listen to the guidance and act
Love
on
it.
it. Yeah.
Thank you, Nye. Nikita.
So you can find me on Nikita Nicole ULTD. LaDonna's going to help me get my life together. So when you go there, the following is small, but if you're with the vibe,
Come on.
and come on over. And I'm going to
it.
work on being more consistent, but trying to figure out how I'm going to add my voice in an effective way. Because I think, like Fatima and a lot of you guys were saying, it's a lot of talking out there. So I'm not sure if I want to, I got to figure out how I'm going to present that. But what I can do personally for the Black War on Love is to be consistent and disciplined, continue to do my work, continue to share. I will be liking, subscribing, and hitting up y'all page and sharing you guys' content also until I'm consistent with my own. And I will continue to support and just love my Black people in general and just be the light.
Hey.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Like
Damon.
the thing about us podcast, I keep telling you guys I'm rebranding. There's some stuff coming out. I'm just trying to get it together so that it is consistent. To Nikita's point, that consistency is the key, and so you want to make sure you're getting those messages out. And a lot of my content is geared towards men, and kind of like what we need to focus on, what we need to look at. There is some stuff for women because I think we're both teammates in this thing. We're both partners in this thing, good and bad. But I really want to talk to guys about, being able to kind of navigate what's going on out here in the dating world, was navigate relationships, navigating the stuff that we're bringing to the table, whether it be good or bad. So a lot of that content is geared towards men. Um, what am I doing to counteract the war on black love? So I'll be honest with you. Since we've been doing this podcast for the last couple of weeks, I really think that we need to figure out a way to get in front of people. I think that social media is great. I think that YouTube and Facebook is great, but I think we need to get in front of people. I think people need to hear the things that we're sharing, see our faces, feel the energy that we're trying to share. And then I think people need to understand like we're not like trying to be an influencer. Like that ain't we're actually trying to help people. Like
Right.
literally
Yeah.
our motives, our goal is to really help people. And so I think if we were able to get in front of people so they could see that, feel that, understand that, I think it would spread organically. So for me, trying to figure out what that process is to stay here on the screen here, of course, but to also how do we get in front of people so that they can go, oh my God, this is real. This is really what
Right.
they're really what I saw on the screen, but also they're really trying to help people. Like they're not here to get likes and to get followers. They're actually here to try to help us heal some of these relationship issues that we have in our community. So that for me is like a personal challenge. Like I want to see how we could figure out a way to get in front of folks, because I think when people have the experience, like you look at the chat, if you can roll up and down the chat before we log off and look at some of the stuff people are sharing their personal relationship experiences on in this chat room. You know what I'm saying? So we're having an impact on the folks that are dialing in. But imagine the impact we would have on people if we were in front of them and they would go and tell their friends about, these people are trying to help. They've got a academy, they've got products, they've got, they're really invested in trying to heal folks. I think that's for me, that's how we kind of counterattack this war that we're having. I think that's so for me, that's kind of like a personal challenge. Like I really want to see how we do that. And whether it be something small, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't have to, we're not packing out stadiums yet, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying that
I love you said
like,
yeah.
Pack a room,
but I
though. We can
think
pack a room.
We could back
but
a
I
room.
think I think we should figure out a way to get in front of people, because I think when people see it and feel it, and then it changes folks. It changes the way people think, the way they act. I think we need to figure that out. So that's
Yeah,
my
yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And the only way that's going to really happen is everybody that has actually heard everything that we've said is to share it, is to spread it. You got to
yeah.
spread the message. That's the only way that's going to happen.
Yep,
Because we want to counteract the noise. Like we don't we we're not
Right.
we're not we're not getting. It's the same space. The message is different. So it's the same
That's it.
space. People are talking about the same thing, but the message is different. The message is like, I'm not trying to beat you up and you're not trying to beat me up. I'm trying to figure out how we can work together. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
trying to I could tell you 1,000 things that you're doing wrong. You can tell me 1,000 things that I'm doing wrong. That's great. But now how do we work through those things that are wrong and figure out a way for us to work together? Even if that is going our separate ways. even if the
absolutely.
end of this even if the end of this relationship we realize we're not supposed to be together, and sometimes we're not even supposed to be friends, we just need to
Mm.
go our separate ways. I can
Yeah,
love you and not be around you and with you. I can love you from a distance, and that's what's good for both of us. Like we got to be able to get to that point. I don't have to destroy you just because we're not together and just because we didn't work
Right.
out.
Right.
I should
Facts.
still be able to love you and maybe not be a part of your life, because that's what's best for both of us. So
yeah,
we're in the same space, but we ain't saying the same thing. Our message is very different, very different.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Damon. That's great. Fatima, I see you're off screen. Where are you here?
She be saying
Okay.
her stuff and drop the mic.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm here.
yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I've been
Like,
listening. I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
and
y'all.
wait, before Fatima says anything, I just want to say to my three brothers, that's Brother Stanley's daughter, brother. Y'all know that's Stanley's brother's daughter. You heard what
I
she was
said what I
preaching?
said.
Dropping
When she was
mics.
preaching, I was like, that's Brother Stanley's daughter right there.
conversation. Okay, wrapping up, Fatima. How can the people find you? And just in a short two sentences, how are you going to help fight the war on Black love? And we'll bring you back to talk about the rest that you want to say. But I just need to close out. So It's
No,
on
no,
you,
for
kid.
sure.
I mean,
For sure. First, I want to apologize. This is super rude and disrespectful. I'm off the camera like this, but my dog was crying to go outside, so I apologize. But people can find me on Instagram. So Muhammad Fatima on Instagram, and my simple solution. I was listening to Keita. I think it's perfect. It's just keep doing what I'm doing. Um, self improving and doing my best to stay married and keep my little family together,
Mhm.
because family is the cornerstone of nation. So, I can't help nobody until I help myself. So,
Mm-hmm.
just keep doing what I'm doing. On that level, that's how I think I am contributing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's how I'm going to continue to contribute. So that's really it.
All
Thank
right.
you guys.
All right.
Blessings.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone on the panel. Thank you for everyone in the comments. This has been a great discussion. The work, of course, is not done yet, but I feel like we've really tackled what we came to do. So thank you so much. And you all can find me at Smart Love Inc. All right. Till next time. Bye.
Peace.
peace.